It is that time of the season where we have to look back and do a review. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. The 2025-2026 season has ended, and as we all know, Man United finished in third place comfortably and sealing Champions League football for the upcoming season. And there was quite a few things that happened this season, and in another video, I'll do a more in-depth player review for the season. But for now, let's first focus on the team, the club as a whole. So, in the beginning of the season, we were still being ruled and coached by Ruben Amorim under this 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1 system. And he got the players that he wanted in Mateus Cunha and Brian Mbumo. Sesko was maybe not his number one choice. He wanted Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa, but the club thought it was best to get Sesko, and we are thankful that that was the decision that was made because, yes, Watkins had a good season. He won the Europa League with Aston Villa, scores goals, assisted, etc. But I don't think he would have had the same type of impact that Benjamin Sesko has had this season. But nevertheless, he got the signings that he wanted, and late in the window, we got Sene Lomans, who came in and basically restored the problems we had in the goalkeeping department with Bayender and Onana both not being good enough to start for Manchester United. Now, there was a lot of concern in terms of the progress under Ruben Amorim. Where were we going? Was the team improving? Were the players basically doing what they were expected to do under him? And there were various results, which kind of left us in seventh by Christmas, and that in itself wasn't good enough. You could say it was an improvement from last season ending 15th, but Ruben Amorim could not get back-to-back wins. He struggled for a year to get back-to-back wins, and ironically, it came in his last few games. We got that great win against Liverpool at Anfield, and that was a year later when we got Ruben Amorim, and that was simply when we got the back-to-back wins. But there were many fans, pundits that were very much not, shall I say, happy with Ruben Amorim and what he was producing with Manchester United. He kept saying it was a process. He kept saying that we need to stick to the plan and ensure that he gets backed. But there were a lot of concerns, and the results were starting not to be quite good. We were drawing, we were conceding a lot of goals. We certainly didn't look like the team that was improving under Ruben Amorim. And then, of course, the Leeds game, it came, it happened, we drew, and then after that, Ruben Amorim had that very, very disastrous press conference, which ultimately sealed his final nail in his coffin, and he was sacked not too long after that. I think it was a day or so after that press conference, and he was simply removed from his position. And then the club was again in turmoil, and they brought in Darren Fletcher as an interim because they needed to assess where we are going, who's going to come in next, which managers are available, who's available to come in until the end of the season. And that is why Darren Fletcher was there for two games. We basically only had the FA Cup under him, which we went out at the first round under Ruben Amorim. We went out at the first round of the Carabao Cup to Grimsby Town, which was a very, very disastrous night in terms of performance, in terms of how the club felt, in terms of where Ruben Amorim was as a manager. That was a night that we simply immediately wanted to forget. But again, that was part of Ruben Amorim's tenure, which was in the beginning of the season. But Darren Fletcher kind of stabilized the ship a small bit. We, drew the game. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was against Bournemouth. We drew the game, and then, of course, against Brighton, we got knocked out of the FA Cup. And he moved back down to the under 18s, where he basically was quite successful this season. And then they brought in Michael Carrick, and it was between Michael Carrick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to come in as the interim until the end of the season. And the first two games that Michael Carrick had, we know, not too long ago, it was City and Arsenal back to back. And he won both those games. And he deservedly won both those games based on how he played, based on the systems that we used, and based on how he improved the players in such a short span of time. The confidence that he instilled back into the players, because after Ruben Amorim left, a lot of the players were wondering and seeking other places to go and play. Mainly Kobbie Mainoo, who basically almost left in January. He was basically almost out the door on his way to Napoli. It came out recently that Chelsea made an offer for him as well, and he rejected that. And since Michael Carrick came in, Kobbie Mainoo has been one of the most important players, if not the most important player in midfield, and of course for Manchester United as a whole. Bruno Fernandes has superbly improved from what he has done recently. And yes, he's done well, but under Michael Carrick, he's become even better. And so too have so many other players. Patrick Dorgu, Harry Maguire, Martinez, Euro, Heaven. You can go to the likes of Shaw, who's also again been ultimately excellent this season. But Michael Carrick changed the way people see Manchester United. We got 4 wins in a row, almost got the fifth, but we ended up, of course, losing that game. And we had to bounce back. And we did. You could see there was a team spirit that was building. You could see under Michael Carrick that things are moving forward. And fast forward a few months later, end of the season, he gets announced as the permanent head coach, and deservedly so. 12 wins out of 17 games. Who would have thought that he would come in and stabilize the ship and ensure that the club moves in the right direction, qualify for Champions League, finish in third place comfortably? These are things that you expected Ruben Amorim to have done by now, but he didn't, and he struggled for such a long time with what he was doing, with trying to get the best out of the players. And Michael Carrick simply came in, calmed everything down, and he done what is required, whether it be on the pitch, whether it be behind the scenes with the first team players, but even so with the academy. So many times he was appearing at games, watching the academy players, and he knows how important the academy is to Manchester United. Our home record improved. We basically have been unbeaten since he came in at the season. And just to top things off, there's a Premier League table that has been put out there. Since Michael Carrick has been appointed, Manchester United have been top of the Premier League table in terms of points gained and of course lost since Michael Carrick was appointed as the interim, which was in late January. So that in itself is such a massive thing and shows that there has been an improvement in Manchester United. Now, overall, in the season, we scored 69 goals. We conceded 50. And most of the goals that we conceded, it came early on in Ruben Amorim's time in terms of how open we were, in terms of how we gave goals away so easily. And not to say that we didn't concede goals under Darren Fletcher and now, of course, Michael Carrick, but under Michael Carrick, we've become more defensively solid. We concede less goals. Just look at the game against Brighton, how we kept the clean sheet. And of course, it is thanks to Lommans, but also the defense that has been quite strong with Maguire, Martinez. They have been quite strong in defense. The likes of Aiden Heaven, when he came in, kept the standard up. So too Lenny Yoro, Luke Shaw being consistent for the season. So things have changed defensively, and we have conceded less goals under Michael Carrick than we have under Ruben Amorim. So for me, all in all, it was a good season because we achieved our goal. Ruben Amorim's goal was, of course, to qualify for the Champions League. And if we are in a position to compete for the title, then try and go for it. But by Christmas, it wasn't looking that particular way. We were probably going to be like Chelsea, who finished in 10th place and won't be in Europe come next season if we had to continue with Ruben Amorim, because the place was becoming toxic and players were wanting to leave, and he certainly wasn't improving as a manager, let alone the team. So things had been better under Michael Carrick, and we can look forward now to a transfer window that potentially must strengthen Manchester United, because next season we must compete on all fronts. At least do better than this season. At least try and improve and fight for those top honors, because Michael Carrick knows what it takes. He's been there, he's done it all, he's won it all. So he will definitely relay that message and give those type of experiences to the players so that they can be ready for those moments. It was a good season, in my opinion. But you can let me know in the comment section what you thought of the season. And of course, I'm going to be doing the player review for the season, where we're talking about the signings of the season, who's the player of the season, etc. But I think you already know who the player of the season is. But we'll talk about that in the next video. Have a wonderful day further till we see each other again in the next one. Bye-bye, Red Devils. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share and subscribe.